Yeah, what's going on, Zoms? Okay, continuation on this melodrama and this diatribe of mine, this gracious monologue to drive people insane. It's 5:20 in the morning, West Coast time. Still the 22nd of October, 2023. We were John C. Roseman, California, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah, well, what can I say? Okay, video one for Daryl, video two for Taylor Swift and anybody else. And here comes my griping and grumbling. No, I'm not doing a timpani on this one, guys. My fingers are dealing with the diabetes already. I already got neuropathy sitting in into my damn fingertips, and they're flashing like crazy throughout the damn nervous system. In about a week or two, I get to see my primary care physician, and I'm not looking forward to this crap. You kidding me? Me and physicians? Me and a medical establishment? Hell no. But unfortunately, the worse I'm getting right now in my decaying form and my decaying age, I have to keep looking for a physician to keep putting me back together again, and he's going to be probably prescribing medications or worse. I will not deal with being a gas bag, but the one thing I won't be dealing with is being target zero for a damn syringe going into me dealing with insulin. You know, it was hard enough when I was dealing with my brother and his central IV. A lot different than dealing with a damn syringe. But they were syringes of a different sort. Wide brimmed, liquid filled, especially with the normal saline, just to flush out the lines. And then I had to measure out the medication and put them into the central line without having an air bubble. Otherwise, my brother would have an embolism. I was always afraid of dealing with needles. I never liked them in the first place. I don't care if this one was just screwed in and just. But this scared the hell out of me anyway. I was dealing with my brother's life. Long story on this one here. Let's shorten it up a bit. My brother was going in for a boil removal. And let's get gross about it. Inner thigh. It was his left thigh. And I saw what they did to him. Outpatient surgery, a couple of hours. They lanced it, but they also removed tissue around it. I got to see the inner workings and the inner muscles of a human body on my brother. They had clear bandages so people could look at it, especially the care nurses that would come by every day. Luckily, back then, we didn't have a bug problem like I currently have right now. I've got a severe cockroach infestation happening entire this complex here in Roseman, California. We're inundated out here. We got bugs of all sorts. Hell, now we got cockroaches all over the damn place, turning my dog's paws into maracas, or actually open season for pointy shaped things that I have to keep pointing out and keep stabbing myself with these damn things. They hurt like, oh God, they hurt like hell. They hurt like hell. So anyway, my brother is showing his wound for the first time. I'm seeing this thing. And normally some people will go, gross. Unfortunately, the way I was raised, there were certain attitudes and certain viewpoints we would share. That would be throwing people off left and right, especially when we laughed at our own jokes. My brother, a long time ago, when he was, uh, I think before or after he got out of the Navy, he went working for a mortuary company as an attendant driver. He would have to pick up stiffs at the county. We were living in LA County at the time. He was working for a mortuary company, and in the middle of the night, he'd go out to the county and pick up the stiffs and bring them back in so they can work on them. And then, but this one, he was seeing an autopsy happening, and there had been newcomers in there looking at this body. And this one surgeon already, or pathologist, already opened up the cranium. The other people were going, well, they were passing out. You ever seen the television show Quincy MD back in the 70s to near 80 to near 80s on that one? I loved watching that show. As a kid, I didn't understand a damn thing they were talking about, but I liked watching the show. They never showed the gross stuff, not like they do these days. The crime dramas are showing more and more gross stuff these days. I think we're developing stronger stomachs. My brother, as I said before, was there to pick up the body. And the pathologist are already, or surgeon, I think one of those two, he opened up the cranium cavity. And there was the brain. People around him are passing out. He's looking at it. He's going, cool. What really got people to throw up is when the brain was going to plop right onto the ground. And my brother made a catch for it. Now, when you're in places like the morgue, you have to be gowned up and you have to have gloves on. My brother had both. He's looking at this brain and it's plopped into his hands, and with a weird ass smirk on his face, and he was a royal smartass during those days. He would go, anybody for cold cuts? Even the pathologist had to go out real fast. In that situation, and that keep that in context here. Sorry, I'm just getting myself readjusted here. Keep that in context because I'm watching his leg exposed and the nurse is replacing the bandage. And I'm looking at this damn thing and I got a weird ass smirk on my face. The nurse is looking up saying, what? My brother already caught the look. Says, no, you don't see it. I said it. I repeated his joke right back to him. I didn't say, remember when? No, I just looked looked at the looked at the leg and I said, anybody for cold cuts? I think I scared the crap out of this lady until my brother and I actually explained it to her why we're cracking up on it, this damn thing. Under normal circumstances, maybe she's used to people passing out or something like that. My brother and I are looking at the wound. It's not bloody. It had turned a different shade of red, oxygenated, but it wasn't gross. It was like looking at beef. I was looking at beef. My brother and I have eaten a hell of a lot of corned beef and a lot of pastrami. We've seen how beef would be cut in those meat cuts in the delicatessens. My family had made gross jokes in different ways. Ma would make them, Dave would make them, I was making them. So we were used to it. Unfortunately, the outsiders would get freaked out about it. We never did see this nurse again, but there was another one coming in. The wound was getting a little bit more defined as it was healing up, so it was less of an impact. Besides, Dave and I didn't do that joke ever again after that. But at the time, it was funnier than hell. Somewhere in the buried digital pictures I've got, he wanted to keep them for a memento. I must have been out of my damn mind. Somewhere in the flash drives, they're buried in there. And this happened before my brother passed. About less than a year, I think. It was during that time that they needed to get antibiotics down his throat. Instead of giving him the pills all the time. And I would have to remember doing that. No. We want the antibiotics into his system on a constant basis. So instead of doing just a drip bag, we do a push. And through the outpatient procedure that my brother obtained, they inserted the central line. That usually grossed me out right there. I never had it. I don't want it. And working with it on my brother, I wanted to throw up every single time, but I had to hold it in. 3 leads into one. I could use either one of them. I had a favorite. I had a routine. You have your alcohol pads, you have your sterile water syringes, and then you had the medications. And I had to keep those medications chilled. I had to keep going back to a pharmacy to pick them up all the time. It was about 2, 3 weeks before my brother's leg was completely healed and he didn't need the central IV. And man, that was just gross seeing that damn thing coming out of him. Oh my God, I wanted to throw up during that time. But it was bad enough when it was inserted into my brother, and I'm cleaning off one of the leads and flush it out with saline water, just gradually. I didn't want to shove the shit into his veins and blow him up. It had to be gradual into him. And after that, wipe it off again, the lead. Get the medication. Make sure it's flush. And you see that liquid dome on the syringe there. And then you screw it in. And clean the thing off with again with another pad. And you gradually shove that medication through the line. And then, after unscrewing it, washing it off, another saline bottle going into it. And after that, you wash it off, and then you get yourself washed off again. And I did that for my brother, 6 to 8 hours. I had to time it. I had to time it. Because the medications had to be put in at a certain time for the antibiotics to do their job. Dave and I didn't joke about it as much. He kept looking at me like, I trust you. I'm looking at him back, says, I don't trust me, as I'm doing it. I didn't want to hurt him. That's all I needed to do was kill him on my watch. A bit of an embolism. That's the thing that scared the hell out of me every time I was doing a central line on him. You get an air bubble into the bloodstream, you're in trouble. And there's no way out of it. You're just dead. Either it hits the heart or hits the brain, and you're really, that's it. Nighty night. I was lucky enough during those times I wasn't even listening to anything else around me except concentrating exactly what the hell I was doing. If I had heard or seen any celestial visitors during that time, I wasn't paying attention to them. I was paying attention to how to deliver this medication correctly without killing my brother each and every single time. You're probably asking me how come I'm focusing on this because these things usually have to come out one way or another. I have to be reminded. When you're dealing with central line, you have to be careful about how you're bathing. Sometimes the tapes are waterproof, and other times they maybe not. And then you got to shield it some way. Baby wipes and other specialized wipes are good for cleaning up when you need it the most. Even some of the disposable stuff, but I usually toss that stuff out in the garbage. We finally got the central line out. He was actually able to take a real shower by himself. And this was way before my brother actually had the mini strokes kicking in. Thank God. I don't think I would have been able to handle that stroke while he's doing it with the, no, 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 no. I couldn't deal with that at all. There was no way in hell I was going to be able to deal with that or anything else for that matter. I guess this turned out to be the diary of the griever named John Weaver situation after all for that one. Talking about my brother. A great deal about this. What's even harder during these days is we got the holidays coming up and I have to celebrate them alone again. Hardly anybody's made a call on me to say, John, would you like to come over and celebrate with us? That would have been nice. People just don't do that anymore, do they? It gets harder and harder to deal with the holidays because I have to be reminded my brother, my mother are no longer here among the living. I know I probably will have to seek out company during that time. And the truth of the matter is, I'm not very good much company anyway. There had been articles posted about how people are supposed to be responding to the grief and mourning about when they lose a loved one. And unfortunately, some of these people actually have recovered to the point where they've found what they needed the most. Grateful for them. Unfortunately, I'm kind of jealous and envious about them. But the thing is, I'm holding on too damn tight with the memories of my own family, and that's still kicking my ass and killing me at the same time. I know people will probably say, why don't you just get past it, John? Why don't you get past it? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I think I told this story so many damn times in my videos earlier on that I really got to label it, you know? Call it the donkey in a patch. Think of this one. You have a donkey with four hooves stuck in a mud patch. All around it is flat ground, solid, with a lot of help if there is any there, or people around. Now, you know how donkeys and sometimes mules can get very stubborn? They'll bray like crazy. They don't want to do it. No matter how many times you keep trying to push them or tug at them, they'll go when they're ready. And then when they are, okay, fine. At least I've seen those kind of versions. But you're the donkey, or you're the mule actually. Your hooves are in a mud patch. And a mud patch is only about, let's say it's about this thick of mud. and it's surrounding your hooves. It's in a rough circular area. And underneath is solid ground. But the only thing you are watching is the mud patch itself. Everybody wants you to be happy. Everybody wants you to be something. They're trying to get you away from the misery that you're in. And the only thing you're doing is braying your ass off because you're there. It seems larger than life. It feels like it's larger than life. It has a life of its own. And one version of reality, if we're looking at it in one particular viewpoint, it may be alive. For other people on the other side, it's just a patch of mud. Maybe a little soft underneath, but it's still there. I was reminded of it by the actions of the mules and donkeys out there. But also, there was a movie that was called The Never Ending Story, the first one. Trey was trying to get his horse out. His horse was in a bog or in a swamp, and he was sinking. It was a bog of despair, I think. And if you kept thinking negative feelings and thoughts like that, and there went the horse. It didn't dawn on me back then how depressing the damn thing was. Till I kept thinking about it throughout the years, and to this day, it's depressing as hell. Because I kept looking at myself, because I am that horse. I am that creature with four hooves still stuck. Still stuck. It feels like I'm still trying to get myself out of it. Despite the fact that surrounding the area is solid. It's solid. No chance of being sucked into something. And yet, in the middle, with the depression, grief, memories, and everything else happening at the same time, it's literally almost a death trap. I did say that, didn't I? I've heard stories, I've seen stories, and friends and family would commit suicide. They couldn't deal with it. It's not dealing with the pain. It's you have to understand concerning about grieving and mourning and in the process itself. You're so invested in the loved one, or you're so invested into that whatever it is, however you define it. You have an emotional attachment. You have a great emotional attachment to it. Part of it is part of you, and then you lose it for whatever reason, and you feel the rip, the emptiness, the weeping. You feel a hole in your side or in your heart that still has a hard time to seal up. It's like it sucks out every positive thought, feeling, memory. It starts to suck everything else into it. All you feel is the pain. All you feel is the loss. All you feel is identity ripped away. And what you're leaving, what's left is a shell of a person that still has to figure itself what the Sam Hill it is. As suggested by the psychologists out there, and they think they've got a handle on it, but maybe they don't because grieving is different and unique for everybody. Some people can actually deal with it and function. I tried a long time ago until a point where I broke. I'm still broken. People can function without feeling or just they're being numb to the pain. They're still trying to force themselves. They're still trying to live on a survival mode. I know I did. I had for a long while. I was scared shitless to death because I'd been through the process a few times in an operating table at the age of 4 years old, doctors trying to save my ass, save my heart. And they saved the heart, and I was still scared shitless of death. Not fun. That being said, it gave me a different, depressing viewpoint about death and about life after that. So I really wasn't caught up enough into that kind of situation there. Losing friends and family left and right still hurt, but I still had to move. I still had to survive, shove away the pain, and still function. Sometimes there was a little bit of a break where I actually did cry a bit. The rest of the time, I still had to function. I still had to function. That's what I'm doing. Functioning. Barely, but I'm doing it. When I lost Ma in 2013, walls were crumbling. I lost a friend of mine about a year or two later after that. A surrogate mother and best friend. Gone. So the walls just crumbling down. Family pet. Favorite bud. Little boy. Black and white Papillon Terrier mix. Gone. And then it was Big Brother. And then it was Big Brother, 2018. So in that stretch between 2013 and 2018, four major hits. I couldn't take it anymore. I was still going to college. I still am. That's still challenging right now. I talk about it. I get emotionally screwed up inside, and I'm going to get the emotional roller coaster at this point. Not to mention the depression afterwards. But I still need to focus on things I need to take care of, and one of them is taking care of a homework assignment or two. Getting back, I'm getting screwed up on that one, so I have to rush today. Depression sucks up a lot of time, a lot of energy. The grieving, you're basically a wasteland. I'm the donkey that can't see past the damn wasteland because I'm going through it, I'm experiencing it, I'm stuck in it. No matter how many times people may try, and then I discovered that they already stopped, gave up, didn't even bother, they didn't want to be bothered. Oh, they're dealing with their own stuff, but they won't be able to deal with somebody else, huh? And that's how it is. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a either I make it or I don't. And the thing is, it scared the hell out of me. There have been certain times I really came close of doing the final walk. I don't say because if I happen to say these words, they're going to be flagged, triggered, and God knows what else would happen. So I say the final walk. It's not like I'm dancing up and down the damn pathway. It just means that I've already been triggered in some innocuous moment or memory or something. will trigger it, and I'm on the emotional roller coaster again. I keep asking myself, why the hell did I come back to school if I'm going to be this emotionally screwed up? And the thing is, I have to. I'm trying to prove something to my family, but I'm also trying to prove something to myself. If I really want this little letter of academia saying that, yeah, I barely passed the community college level, that's got to be worth something to that. Then I'll do this thing. But the thing is, I'm trying to get past everything else. This hasn't been easy. I mean, this probably sounds like I'm belly aching or bitching about it, but no, I'm just saying what it is. I am dealing. I am coping. I am working through this. What else? What else can I say or do? Except I'm struggling. I'm struggling. And that being said, I talk about politics because sometimes I find politics fascinating, and then I find the other portions of politics, which is people's behavior. And boy, do they all need shrinks on this one, that's for damn sure. Because if they think that yelling and screaming at people and thinking that's going to be helping them out, well, that's why they also need shrinks as well. They all need therapy. After looking at what this world has to offer concerning about what's normal and what's not, what they consider normal or recovered behavior, then I know I'm in the right company. Because I'm emotionally broken, I'm physically broken, I'm struggling for survival. And if everyone that keeps trying to tell me to cheer up and and be this and be that are just the only thing I gotta tell them is I am what I am right now. I am a depressing person right now, dealing with things that I'm struggling with. Yeah, I'd like to have some help. Talk to a therapist about that shit. I talk about it a great deal on my YouTube. But I'm covering something that maybe other people have a problem trying to talk about in the first place. They don't want to deal with this. They don't want to acknowledge it. Grieving, when you lose something or someone totally valuable, or for me, it's family. It's family. You understand a loss more than you realize. They say that grieving is basically loved, not shared. It's basically the love that you had for whoever or whatever is not able to be shared anymore. It just sits there and rots and feels miserable. It feels painful. It feels like it failed. It feels like a lot of things in your head as it's trying to process. Sometimes in the process, people decide they can't deal with it, and therefore the final path. I've been tempted so many damn times it's not even funny. I can find the implementations. The scary part is, yeah, that's no problem. Making that damn choice, killing my freaking self because I'm feeling that much in pain and misery and everything else, feeling like I'm isolated all the damn time. Yeah, it does. But I guess everybody else is feeling that way too because even they can be part of a crowd and they're still isolated. They got this defensive shield right around them. Nobody seems to be breaking into it because nobody else cares to break into it. Or the hardest thing to deal with when you're dealing with loss is how does the outsiders deal with the griever? Now, I'm a griever. I tried in my youth and growing up trying to deal with people who have lost. And it's never easy because there are no right words for this one. Some of the other words sound downright patronizing, and they don't want it. They want to hear, they want to see somebody just sitting down and listening to them. And just being there for a bit. They want to cry, they want to cry. I mean, doing little things for the person, yeah, that's acceptable. But when a person's feeling that depressed about it, that grieved about it, and that feels like everyone else is separated from them, you can be physically right there in front of your face, and emotionally and spiritually, they're not there. You can see it in their eyes, but you don't know what's going on inside. I'd seen some of the memes online being passed around. A lot of people laughing and smiling their faces off, and yet inside they're crying like crazy. There are songs out there. Tears of a Clown. Tears of a Clown. You're laughing in front, but you're crying your eyeballs out. You could be happy or try to show that you're happy. A lot of people looked at Robin Williams on that one. I guess a medical condition really knocked his ass out on that one permanently. But it was said that he was also depressed. He can make people laugh. He can get the high off with that one. But when it came down for his own internal fight, that's a different thing altogether. And that was winning. It was tearing his ass apart royally. He could throw out all the dramatics he could and show himself to be a serious actor. That's why a lot of people admired him. Originally, he started out to be a maniac. You get truthful with your you get truthful about yourself, then you start realizing who and what you are, and then everything else comes out. You show the facade, you show the veneer, you show that side, and then what do you got after that? Collapsed. Try this one. You ever gone to a studio backlot before? Ever seen some of those wooden ones that look like they're just no decorated and redecorated and redecorated, but then actually they pull the tram around and then you see the backing of it. If the planks are kept up in good condition, you'll never know if this thing is going to last a little longer or not. But if you see the rotting in the wood, pieces of it starting to peel off or break off, that veneer is not going to last that long. That facade crush. I hadn't thought about these things and I hadn't talked about these things a great deal. Looks like part four is coming up today.